Hello, and welcome back. I am, as usual, your host, Al Blue, and, if you do not know it, by now, you are either stoned or fucked up. You are watching another most excellent show, and that is Dead at 27 Club, and other strange celebrity deaths. And this is episode number 3, tonight's show hits home. We start off tonight's show with a personal friend of mine, John Michel Basquiat. I met John when I was living on the Lower East Side, in the East Village, in New York City. We became pretty good friends, and we even did a few shows together. That was back in my younger days. Drugs. You want to talk about drugs? Back then, New York probably had more coke than Peru. We had bought it all, no shit. Well, and moving right along, we start up tonight's morbid episode with John Michel Basquiat, a lesser-known member of the Dead at 27 Club. I am John Michel Basquiat. I was born December 22, 1960, and I left here August 12, 1988. You might know me from my band, Grey. We mostly played in New York, or you might know me from my art, like the piece behind me. Some of my paintings have sold for millions of dollars, plus it always helps if your best buddy is Andy Warhol. How did I get here? After a normal night of hanging out and partying, I came back to my studio on Great Jones Street. I started painting, like I usually do, and then I got bored, like I usually do, so I decided to spice it up a little, and I mixed up some heroin and coke like I usually do, and the next thing I know, I ended up here, and became a member of the Forever 27 Club. I remember after John died they were trying to get one of his paintings off the wall, in the Palladium. They almost tore the Palladium up trying to get that piece. Somebody really wanted that piece. You think, how about this painting here? You can own it for a couple of mil. And what about that John Michel? I sure do miss that dude, and I can definitely vouch for him painting in Armani suits. I have been there, right with him. John would be dressed like a homeless bum or something, and have $50,000 in his pocket. And a 8-ball, and I ain't talking about no old English. Well, anyway, stepping away from memory lane, and stepping up to the podium of morbid lust and madness, is none other than the legendary guitarist, Mr. Jimi Hendrix, another card-holding member of the infamous Dead at 27 Club. Let's go see what Jimi has to say.
I am Jimi Hendrix. I was born November 27th, 1942, and I left here September 18th, 1970. I was a singer, songwriter and guitarist. I also played in this band, called the Jimi Hendrix Experience, or you might know some of my songs, like Hey Jude, Purple Haze, Stone Free, or The Wind Cries Mary. How did I get here? I was hanging out in London. After coming back from this party, I drank some wine, and since I could not fall asleep, I took a few pills, and I did not wake up. The coroner's report stated that I asphyxiated in my own vomit. Till this day, no one is really sure what happened to me, and that is how I came to be a member of the Forever 27 Club.
I am here in Seattle, Washington, at the tomb of legendary rocker Jimi Hendrix. Still a lot of controversy surrounding his death. Was it murder, suicide, or what? We will never know for sure. Jimi took that one with him, as well as a lot of unwritten songs. Since your thirst for all things nasty and gross, why just look at Jim's story. That is fucking pretty gross. Drowning in your own vomit, jeez. That is why I always sleep on my stomach. You don't want that shit to back up on you. Well, enough of the science lesson. Now, let's look forward to our next horrific and tragic story. This one comes from the famous, dark and gloomy archives, where we store such precious gems. Hold onto your teddy bear. This one will creep you out, for sure. Coming up, another tale from strange celebrity deaths. Don't touch that mouse. Roll the tape.
I am Gwilly and I was born February 4, 1908 in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I left here February 5, 1959. You should know me. The picture behind me is one of the many movie magazines with my image on it, or from the over 100 films I have made, like Roar of the Dragon and Secrets of the French Police, or all the magazine covers I used to adorn. How did I get here? After trying to make the transition from silent films to talking films, Things did not go exactly as I planned them, so I gathered all my personal memorabilia. I sat down in my home and lit everything on fire, and that is how I ended up on Strange Deaths of Celebrities.
How about that Willie Andre? I think she had some issues. That is definitely one not to invite over for the cookout. I mean, come on, you did over 100 films. You should be excited and ecstatic. But you know what Prince says, maybe she is like my mother, she is never satisfied. Well, so much for the music class. Next on the chopping board is another act of self-mutilation, from the music chambers of horror. Another fine example of strange celebrity deaths that Willie kinda creeped me out. Anyway, enough of my personal weakness. Let's go to the vault.
I'm Johnny Ace. I was born June the 9th and I left here December the 25th. You might remember me from my hit songs, my song and Pledging My Love, which went to #1 after I died, and The Clock and Cross My Heart. How did I get here? I had just finished playing a gig at the City Auditorium in Houston. I went back in the dressing room, I might had a few drinks, and I was playing with my .22, like I always do, and Big Mama Thornton told me to put my gun down, and I told her, look, it ain't loaded. I put the gun up to my head, and pulled the trigger, and you know what? It was loaded, and that is how I ended up here on Strange Deaths of Celebrities.
Hello one more time, I am here in Shelby County, Tennessee, at the gravesite of John Alexander Jr., better known to us as Johnny Ace, another tragic, but preventable death. That is why I used only the Glock 17, with built-in safety device, but that is neither here nor there, and keeping on schedule with more disturbing and totally useless, mind-wasting, celebrity deaths. Need I say more? Let us continue on with the constant hunt for all that is bad in the Forever 27 Club. Up next, Miss Janis Joplin. Grab a beer, relax, but don't go anywhere. Don't touch that mouse. Roll the video.
Hello, I am Janis Joplin. I was born January 19th, 1943, and I left here October 4th, 1970. I was a singer and songwriter, or you may know me from the band Big Brother in the Holding Company, or from the album Cheap Thrills, or the Cosmic Blues Band, or maybe Mercedes-Benz, or just try a little bit harder. That behind me is the lion's chair. I like that spot. I told my friends if I die I would buy the drinks that night at the lion's chair, and I did. Oh, how did I get here? I was supposed to go to the studio to work on my new album, and I was in my room at the Landmark, and maybe I had some Southern Comfort, and maybe some heroin, not too much, just a little bit, and that is how I ended up here as a member of the Forever 27 Club.
Hello, I am here in New York City again. This time, however, I am at the Whitney Museum, standing in front of Miss Janis Joplin's famous Summer of Love Porsche 356C. As you all know, Janis was cremated, and, as she stated, she treated all her friends to a round at the Lion's Share in San Anselmo, California. But once again, tragic and preventable. That is why I never drink Southern Comfort and shoot heroin at the same time. Nope, I tell you, never. But like Janis, I do like that Southern Comfort. Speaking of Southern Comfort, we will take our first break, so that our sponsors and lawyers can tell you why they hate us. I wonder if they will let me take that thing for a spin. Stay glued to your computer. We have more interesting and bizarre tales in store. I think I am going to get a Cornish, or a slice. You, don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this break. You are watching Dead at 27 Club and other strange celebrity deaths. This is an Al Blue Films Unlimited production. Now, back to the shit you were watching. I hope that you enjoyed that commercial break. It was pretty tasty to me, if you catch my drift. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But back to real time and the task at hand. As you can tell, I am back in the virtual studio. This is one of the places we put all the shit together for all you gross heads. Don't you have something better to do than watch me? Well, guess not, since you are still there. Now to throw more brain matter and blood splatter on the fan, let us move along to our next piece of disturbing, totally sick piece of music history. Our next, not so willing participant is Mr. David Ruffin, our next celebrity guest on Strange Deaths of Celebrities. Mr. Ruffin, step up to receive your share and required dosage of unneeded torture and abuse. Cue in the AVI footage now. I'm David Ruffin. I was born January 18, 1941, and I left here June 1, 1991. I was a soul singer. You might know me as the lead singer of the group The Temptations. Yeah, I know Eddie Hendrix was lead too, but you may also know me from my great songs, like My Girl, and Ain't Too Proud to Beg, or I Wish It Would Rain. Well, how did I get here? After touring England with Eddie Hendrix and David Edwards, I came back to the States, since I had some pocket change, about $40,000, which was missing when they found my body. Anyway, I figure I'd go over to the local rock spot and catch up on some missing R&R. Oh, I probably smoked more than 10 crack vials of rock cocaine in about 30 minutes, and then my heart stopped beating, and then the next thing I know, I ended up here on Strange Celebrity Deaths. I am here in Wayne County, Detroit, Michigan, at the gravesite of David Ruffin. What a voice! Boy, was he unreal or what? And, tragically, mentally retarded at the same time. Who the fuck takes $40,000 into a crack house? That is a direct violation of every hood rule I know. 40 grand. They supposed to build you your own crack house for 40 grand. Well, anyway, how about that My Girl? Now that was a great song. People all over the planet were walking around, singing, talking about My Girl, My Girl. Alright. Back to the program. Well, that David was something else. In his case, we know who his girl was. That evil white goddess. Up next on your untasteful and definitely not brain nutritious menu, we have another lifetime member of the Forever 27 Club, and that would be none other than Helmut Kohlin.
I am Helmut Kohlin. I was born in Germany, March 2, 1950, and I left here May 3, 1977. I'm a singer and bass player. You might remember me. I toured with Fleetwood Mac, or from the band Triumvirate, or from my only solo album, the one behind me called You Won't See Me. How did I get here? I had just finished working on my next album, so I went home, decided to listen to the tracks that I had recorded at the studio earlier. That day the session was on a cassette tape, and the cassette player in the house was not working, so I went to the garage to play the cassette in my car. It was cold outside, so I let the engine run. While I listened to the tape, the coroner's report said I died from carbon monoxide poisoning, and that is when I became a lifetime member of the Forever 27 Club.
Well, once again, I am Al Blue, and I am afraid Mr. Helmut Kohlin has put the finishing touch on this episode, which is number 3 of Dead at 27 Club and Other Strange Celebrity Deaths. As always, it has been my pleasure to be your guide on this horrific masterpiece of cartilage, madness, and mayhem. Until we meet again, remember you can always find us on the World Wide Web at actualfacts2 at netzero.com, and you can view past episodes at YouTube/LBlueFilms. In parting, remember, fear is the fuel that drives the mechanics of flight, and one more day above the day's seas means you win. Later, peace out, arrivederci, hasta la vista, and all that shit. I am OUT, out, word up. Peace.